Hey there, Fran and Carolyn. I just want to walk you through my setup here with my microphone and how I use it with Camtasia so you can kind of see how this works. It's definitely not going to be studio quality sound, but I think the audio quality sound is pretty good once you get this all set up, but there's a few steps to do it. So I first want to show you my microphone setup, and then I'll flip over to Camtasia and show you how I set it up there as well. So I have this is the Audio Technica. I'm just going to try and show you this Audio Technica ATR 2100, I believe is what it is. Yeah, 2100. That's the microphone there. I have it on this scissor arm. I don't know if you can see this, but it's just a scissor arm that swivels. And I got it on Amazon for like probably 25 bucks or something. And it's great because I can just swivel it out to get it in front of my computer. Here's my whole setup. I don't know if you can see that there. There we go. I have a stand-up desk that I built. So it just swivels out to get it really close to my face. I get it about an inch away or so from my face, from my mouth. I don't have the pop filter on there, but it's definitely a good idea. Carolyn's right about that. Use a pop filter on there, or some kind of screen cover will work great. So my P's get a little exaggerated or have a little bass in them sometimes, but whatever. So anyways, yeah, so that's how I get this set up and get it pretty close. If you kind of veer off or get the microphone away from your mouth, that's okay. So I'll now flip over to Camtasia and show you the settings there. All right, so I'm now going to walk through my setup with the Camtasia recorder as well. I'm using Windows here, but I believe it's about the same on the Mac. I think most people in the Kajabi community are using the Mac version. But anyways, I think it should be about the same with the Windows version. So the first thing you want to do is obviously start the recorder here, and you'll get this box that probably looks similar to this down below. And in the audio settings here, the audio option, you want to choose your microphone. That in this case, I use that Audio Technica 2100. It says 2005, but it's 2100. So you choose that microphone, and then after you choose that, you should start to see I'm actually talking into the microphone right now, so you can see that green bar kind of going up, and that lets you know that you're talking into it and that it's receiving your audio. And you can move this up. I typically move this up because the Audio Technica tends to be pretty low volume and record in low volume, but that also helps. I found it also helps get rid of all that background noise. So I actually have the window open right now. There's cars outside driving by. It's kind of noisy, but you probably won't hear much of that in this audio, which is great for me because I live on a busy street corner near the beach, and there's all kinds of noise going on all the time. So anyways, so that's how that setup works. Now with the video setup, if you're doing PowerPoint, I always also set up the videos like this. And also you should probably watch this video in full screen because I'm recording this in full screen right now, but I'll kind of explain how I set up the video recording dimensions as well. So I always record, I'm doing screencast videos. A lot of my videos are in Excel, not necessarily PowerPoint based, but more based on Excel tutorials, Microsoft Excel, which would be this application here. And so I want to make sure that the user can see all these menus and the numbers and everything going on here on a smaller resolution video. So when the video is in Kajabi or on YouTube or on any web page, it's typically embedded at a smaller size, usually 640 by 360 or maybe a little bigger than that, but not huge. It's not played full screen. So you want to make sure you can zoom in on the video and it looks good, and the text size is big enough so the user can see it without having to watch the video full screen. You don't necessarily want to make the user watch the video in full screen, especially with all the devices that we're using now to watch videos. So anyways, I typically set this to 1280 by 720. Those would be the recording dimensions, and you can select them right here, the 720p HD 1280 by 720, and that'll give you this size frame here. You can see the outline of the frame for the Camtasia recorder right here, and then you just want to resize the application. So if you are doing PowerPoint, I'll bring PowerPoint back up. If you're doing PowerPoint, it's kind of the same thing here. And when you actually run the PowerPoint, you can run it or when you're going through the presentation, you can do it in this reading view here. which looks like this, and then resize the PowerPoint to get inside that reading view. So you can resize the app to make sure that everything is going to fit, and kind of move it around so everything fits within that green box. You might need to do a little bit more resizing there. But that's typically how I do it. Again, that's more for PowerPoint. You could probably get away with recording full screen and it'll look okay. But when you're doing other applications, like I'm doing Excel, or if you're doing web pages, or showing any kind of software application other than PowerPoint presentation, you'll probably want to record in this 1280 by 720. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button just so you can see my steps when I get into the Camtasia recorder. So now I'm recording, obviously, in Camtasia as well. I'm also recording this on Screencast-O-Matic to be able to record the Camtasia recorder. So again, here's my Excel application that I would normally be recording in, and again, it's 1280 by 720, and I'll show you how that works back in the Camtasia recorder. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop, and that of course will create that video file, and we'll say save and edit. And we'll just put it on, I'm just going to put it here for now. And so that's going to bring up the Camtasia Studio. And so for the audio, because I know your question is really regarding the audio, for the audio, you could see down here in the timeline that the audio is pretty low on the bar there of the volume. So what I always do, this is how I always do it. I right click on the timeline here, or the recording, and I just go to edit audio, and then right up here I choose enable volume leveling. You can see that's leveled out the volume there in case I drifted away from the microphone. It kind of just levels out the volume, and then I move the volume up closer to this 100% bar. So this bar here is 100%, and I usually hit this 3 times to get it right under the 100% bar. And then that tends to make it much louder and sound much better when it's played on YouTube or uploaded to Wistia or anything like that. The volume is pretty close. You just want to get it to that 100% there. And as you'll hear, there's not much background noise with my videos at all. Like I said, there's cars driving by outside. It's pretty noisy, but I don't think you'll hear much of that. I do have the windows open, which I don't normally do, but you'll still probably won't hear too much of that background noise, even in this video. So that's how I do that portion of it. Now, in terms of the video portion, the video sizing, you can see that I have this on the right side here. We have a preview of the video recorded, and over here I typically make this about the same size as I would have it displayed on the web page that I'm going to display it on. So that might be YouTube, or that might be embedded on my site, which has about a 640 pixel wide blog post page. And you can figure that out. I use Snagit to take screenshots. So if I hit the print screen button, you'll see that these crosshairs come up, and I can just get an approximate size. So this is right now 709. So I might want to make that a little smaller to get it around 640 or 680. And you can just do that by dragging this bar right here to get the preview smaller. So I just work like this, so I know that this is how it's going to look on the web page. It's probably about 640 wide, 640 pixels wide, and I know that this is how it's going to look when I edit on the web page. So if I scroll through this video here, when I jumped to Excel, you can see if I displayed this on my website now with this video, it's going to be really hard for the viewer to see what's going on here and to view this, the numbers and the menus and all that stuff. It's going to be very hard to see. So you can use the zoom and pan feature in Camtasia here to make this much bigger. And you can just do that, just press zoom and pan, and you can just zoom right in and get the screen much bigger so the user can see it. So now you can see over here, this is what the viewer is actually going to see here, and if it's zoomed into 170%. So I usually like to have that between 150 and 200%. If I'm really zooming in on a menu or want them to see something, I can zoom into 200%. And then 200 is going to be about that size of my web page, because it's basically double or the size of that since we recorded in 1280 by 720. This is when the video is displayed in 640 by 360, which is half of that. If we zoom in by 200, it's going to get us back to kind of the 100% or normal size that we see it in on the computer display. So I hope that makes sense. I don't think I explained the math clearly there, but that kind of gets you back to a normal viewing size. And then of course the zoom and pan feature, it has a lot of timeline. You can change that, you know, down here in the timeline if I wanted to do that or move it. You can do that as well, and it'll zoom and pan. It's a great feature of Camtasia here. And if you're farther along in the timeline and you want to get back to 100%, you just hit this button here, or the 1-to-1, and it'll scale it out to back to 100% so you can see the full screen. So anyways, that's all in all my basic setup for audio and for the video to kind of get the right size and scaling and all that. I'm planning on making a series of videos on this, maybe a small course or something with how to do screencast videos, because there's a lot of things I didn't necessarily cover there, but hopefully that'll get you started with the videos sounding good and looking good. And I'll give you a link to my YouTube channel as well, so you can see some of my videos and hear them to see if it's kind of what you're expecting with your audio quality and your video and all that. So just let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. I hope this helps you. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.